Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Let me start by saying that a PC build video was the last video I ever thought I'd be making, but here we are. So why am I making one if I love the work PC that I have, and in the past 5 years it's never let me down for photo or video editing? Well, over the years I guess it's just become cluttered with other software, and recently games, and now I'm spending too much time at this desk that I could be spending somewhere else. So I decided to build another PC for just gaming and general use. And throughout the video I'm going to show you why you should maybe consider doing the same. This build was under $1,000 and offloads everything that is non-work related from this PC. And today we'll discuss why separating work and play is a game changer, how I built this PC as a non-expert, talk about if this budget build could work for you as a photo and video rig, and what I'd upgrade if I needed more power. So let's get into it. First off, I didn't do this just for fun. Well, kind of for fun, but what's the real reason? The real reason is it keeps this PC streamlined and distraction free. There's no additional software filling up my hard drives, there's no game files, and because of that, I'm not sitting here additional hours with my friends after a work day to play games. Basically, I just need this PC to run smooth and efficient for client work. And you know, work-life balance. I already spent hours at this desk editing and creating video content. The last thing I want to do after work is sit here some more. So now that I have an additional rig for all gaming and things like that, I'm going to sit on the couch and relax. My girlfriend plays too, so that helps with quality time. I'm not stuck up here in the office where she's in another room. You know, when friends and family play, we're all in the same place. I enjoy tech. I mean, hell, I'm into cameras, PC, you know, audio, stuff like that. So it allows me to enjoy the tech and stuff like that in a different space. And just getting out of this office and desk is a godsend. So I am no PC expert. I'm not a computer whiz, any of that. All I've done is just research on my own, talked with other people who have built stuff, and there's hundreds of YouTube channels that discuss that. I watch a lot of Jay's 2 Cents, Tom's Hardware, stuff like that. And if you know what I'm talking about, that's great. And if not, and you're thinking about building something, you know, check them out. They'll lead you down the right path when looking at what to build and budget builds, or if you want a more high-end build, things of that nature. And through this quest, this is what I learned. You don't need the best parts on the market to get a great system. And in building your own, you can save a lot of money if you do your research. So here's what I used. I used a Ryzen 5 5600X. It's a great budget CPU, plenty for gaming and some editing. An RTX 4060 GPU, handles 1080p like a champ, and also does 4K. But I'm not an esports pro, so I'm not really worried about the GPU. As long as I get a good 1080p, I'm good to go. I have put 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM in there, which is more than enough for gaming and great for creative work if needed. So all my additional software and things like that, it's covered. I put a 2 terabyte M.2 SSD in there because storage fills up fast. My last build, my main rig PC, I put a 500 gigabyte C drive in there, and that filled up, and I have storage on storage on storage. So with the 2 terabyte main C drive, I should be fine, and then I can always add additional storage to that. I built everything in a micro ATX case and a micro ATX motherboard. It's compact, simple, and gets the job done. Also, the cases were very affordable, and it doesn't look like a giant eyesore in our living room. So I made sure to buy a case that looked nice. So if you're not into gaming or building PCs, that's fine. But this part probably applies to you. Will this rig edit your photos and your video? Ultimately, yes. But there's limits. I'm not going to do benchmarks here in real time or post graphs because that is not my thing. However, I did do some research to see how it stacks up against the competition. And I'm just going to walk you through those now. So if you're a photo editor primarily, Photoshop, Lightroom, Capture One, this is going to be just fine, okay? You're not going to have any issues jumping into one of those programs and editing with this, budget build. Handling RAW is going to be just fine. It's nothing's going to be GPU intensive except for maybe like the Photoshop AI stuff. And even with that, like I have a 3060 in my main computer rig and handles it just fine. So this is the newer model of that. It's still a budget GPU, and it does just fine. So photo editing, you're covered. So jumping into video editing, I guess, is where you may see these caps. And like I said, the 4060 is way better than anything I've edited video on for years. But I'm not churning out video, daily, hourly, things like that, where I'm on a time crunch. So if I need to render a video and it takes me, I don't know, a minute, that's not the end of the world. If you need things lightning fast, this is not a video editing rig. And even my main rig is not something that you would, have for a main video editing rig. Those people are using crazy GPUs, crazy processors, things like that to get mass things out of there. But with this budget rig, you could handle 1080p and 4K with decent render times. So if you're just looking for a nice computer, desktop, under $1,000 to do that, this rig will do that. So one thing I wanted to compare it to, because I know a lot of my friends use Macs. They are diehard Mac users. I know iPhone integration, things like that. People are going to use Macs. Hell, even in college, I used a MacBook Pro for years until it bit the dust, and then I built my own PC. So how does it compare there? First is the price. This build is under $1,000. A MacBook Pro with similar specs is going to be well over $2,000. If you're using a MacBook Pro, you're probably using it for portability, going to coffee shops, things of that nature. I hate doing that. I need 2 monitors and a tablet, so I'm always at a desk editing. I will use a laptop sometimes for tether, but other than that, absolutely not. I'm editing at a desk. So if you're editing with a laptop at a desk, I would recommend upgrading to an actual tower and getting you some monitors, because you're going to be saving a lot of money, and you can use that extra grand to get your monitors. So what about processing power? The 5600X, which is an older CPU, still holds up against the M2 for photography work. And graphics, the RTX 4060 is stronger than what most Macs offer. So you got to weigh your odds there. Mac, you don't have to build the damn thing, which is fantastic. Comes in one unit, even if you're using like the Home Macs, the iMacs, or whatever the hell they're called. You buy it once, it's there, everything's integrated. So I understand that. There's no individual pieces or nothing like that. But trying to swap out parts or upgrade it later, you kind of have to buy a whole new unit. And I could be wrong on that. So just something to think about. So again, if you're using this for a editing or video rig, you definitely can do that. You can use it for editing. You can use it for video. Render times might be a little bit slower. So if I was using this for those processes, what would I upgrade? Well, if I wanted to tweak this build, this $1,000 build, for better performance, this is what I would change. First, I would upgrade the CPU. Okay. I put a budget CPU in here, and I also picked a CPU dedicated for more gaming than I did for other processes. So I would go with like a Ryzen 7, or even like I have now, like an older Ryzen 9 if you're doing multiple things at once. Like right now I'm running, my video while I'm doing camera capturing and streaming and things like that. So having a better CPU to handle those things would be advantageous. If you're doing things like After Effects, AI, I know it's controversial, but if you're doing AI, having more VRAM, so a better GPU to do that, that's what I would invest in. Another thing to look at, if you don't want to spend more money, but just change components to put money somewhere else, is you could get a cheaper motherboard. So I put a decent motherboard in this. It's still an older one, but came with the Wi-Fi, all the bells and whistles, all the USB port plugs, all of that. But you could get a cheaper motherboard if you're using like a direct Ethernet port and you don't need the Wi-Fi, or if you don't need a million USB plugs, save you some money there, which you could then transfer into getting a better CPU, or if you wanted more RAM, whatever that may be, save you some money. You could also get a cheaper case. I got a nicer case, but you get a cheaper one, save you, $30-40 there, and put it somewhere else. So to wrap things up, was this worth it? To me, absolutely. If you just need a gaming PC, this is perfect and will cost you under $1,000. If you want it for photo editing or video editing at a budget price, you have that too. If you're looking for an alternative to a Mac, this has you covered. It's got all the performance, if not more, at half the price. And if you're like me, who's a photographer looking for a dedicated gaming rig to offload all your software, this is it. I hope this helped you in some way. Maybe you're thinking, yeah, I do need something to clear out the distractions from my work. Or you're looking for a PC that you can build that gets you up and running with editing for photo and video that isn't going to break the bank. Or maybe you're trying to jump ship from Mac and this gets you in there. You're welcome. But ultimately, let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer any of them. Like I said, I'm not a PC guy. Insofar that I do not know the nitty gritty on benchmarks and things like that. But if you want to know what I'm using for either of these rigs, I'm happy to answer, and why I went this way versus another way, I can answer that as well. So thanks for sticking around. Please check out my work on my socials and my website, and hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.